So, hi there, ladies and gentlemen. This is a stay-at-home grandma, and I'm sorry about not coming on today and cooking, but my kids are back. And my granddaughter wanted me to watch the kids so her and her husband could take a break and go to the movies, which I thought was much needed, so I did. And it just didn't, today was kind of like a funky day, so I will return tomorrow and do my cooking. And I'm not doing it every day anyway, I was just doing it every day. I'm going to pick some days, I just have to figure out days are easiest for me. But so far, it's so good. Like I said, I did it. Except they had French fries, and I had onion rings. Okay, really, you know how to make those. Um, and my husband, he had a mishmash of things. He had leftovers from last night and whatever. Anyway, um, several people have emailed me and asked me about my stroke, and it wasn't nosy. It wasn't to be smart or anything like that. It was more to the point of, just asking me some questions. Well, one asked me questions because, and she asked me in the email, even though she's a subscriber of mine, she asked me because a family member of hers had a stroke, and just wanted to know how I fared with it, what I did, and everything like that, so that she could help her family member, you know, through this. And I had my stroke, and the thing of it is, I don't remember when, so I think it's about 6 years ago. I don't remember things like that. I remember positive dates. That was a negative date for me. All I know was that I was getting ready to go to school. I had some clients, some children I had to see, and we were getting ready for something. I forgot when it was because it was in March. So I'm saying Easter maybe, and 2 or 3 weeks before my birthday, and I didn't feel anything. I just had a stroke. I went to brush my teeth and brushed my teeth, took a bath, um, took a shower, um, went to brush my teeth, and then that was fine. And then went to brush my hair, and we couldn't hold the brush. And I'm like, well, I had just gotten over pneumonia, so I'm thinking, well, excuse me for reaching, I'm trying to get my carousel. Well, it must be from the pneumonia, and I was still on part time, so I decided I was going to call work and tell them that I wasn't coming in because I didn't feel good, but I felt good. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I had an epiphany of a headache or anything like that, like other people have. I had no symptoms whatsoever. So I went and I laid down. Well, my husband came home, which is unusual for him because he's usually gone for the day at that particular time. But he had just retired, so but he was out taking care of something. I don't remember what, but he came in and saw my briefcase and all my things on the stairs and wondered what in the heck is going on. And when he looked at me, oh, let me tell you this before I tell you about him. I called the school and my secretary said, I can't understand you. And I'm like, well, whatever, because I think I'm talking all right, but she thinks I'm talking crazy. And then we had, in the school that I worked in, we worked with so many different kids from other cultures that, that spoke other languages that I didn't pay any attention to it, and neither did she. I just was figuring she was having a busy day and whatever. Um, so when my husband came in, he came into the room and said, what are you doing here? And I said something to you. He said, oh my goodness. And he looked at my face, and my face was it's still out of whack, but it was way over to the other side. He said, you had a stroke. Put your clothes on, we're going to the hospital. And really and truly, that's all I remember. Um, was it hard for me? Well, see, I don't take things like other people take things. I take things in stride. And I'm sitting in the bed, well, I'm laying in the bed, and the doctor's talking to my husband, and he says, she's probably not going to walk again. And I'm like, and she's probably not going to talk again. And if she does talk, it's not going to make much sense. He said, all the things that she did, she's not going to be able to do anymore. And he had a list of things that he said, well, will she be able to paint? which will do this, so because it'll break her heart if she isn't able to paint. And he said, no, she's not going to be able to do any of that. She's pretty much, well, we gave her the shot, so we're hoping for some bit of recovery, but I don't think it's going to be that much of a recovery. And then my husband said something that was profound, because he doesn't, let me not say that he doesn't think the way I think, okay? See, God to me is number one, and not that God is not number one to him. He just doesn't believe the way I believe. I believe that anything is possible, okay? I believe in miracles, and I believe that if you work real hard for it, okay, you may have lost it for a minute, but God will give it back to you. Sometimes God wants to see where it is you're at. And, he just couldn't believe it, I guess, because he said, gee, she'd never been sick. At first she gets pneumonia, now this. And I'm saying, to myself, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to let God handle it. And I'm going to lay here and get well. Well, so I did my work. But I was in the hospital. I went in there that Friday. I came out that Monday. Now, that's unusual because I'm supposed to go straight to rehab. And I said, no, I'll go to rehab, but I want to go home. And the doctor said, well, my doctor, they called my doctor and they said, what do you think? And she said, the one thing is you don't know her. Well, my doctor and I are on the same page. We believe in God deeply. And she said, you don't know her. She'll be fine. And I went to my rehab and everything. By that time, all my family was here. And so my son, was talking about, well, maybe I should be here, with her and stuff like that. And my husband said, well, Diamond's here, which is my granddaughter. And, and I'm here and we'll take care of her. And she's going to get a nurse and all that kind of stuff. And they called and they did all this stuff and got me home visits and all this and whatever. In the meanwhile, about 5 days into it, I began to talk. Well, I could talk, I just wasn't saying anything because I was just listening to people and where their beliefs were. And when I talked, it wasn't 5 days into it; it was 3 after me leaving the hospital. And why I spoke is because my daughter said, "Well, what is she going to do about work? Because I guess she's going to have to retire now." And I was in my 60s, and of course, she said, "Because I don't see her going back to work." This is my oldest daughter. And that's when I spoke up and said, you don't make that decision for me. I do. And they all stopped. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm making some necklaces. And they all stopped and looked at each other like, Mom just talked. And I'm like, well, I'm not a baby. I could talk the whole time. I just had nothing to say. I said, but when you start making decisions for my life, that's when I have to talk. I'll make the decision for my life, and I'm going back to work in about a month and a half. I'm finishing the end of the year, and then I'll decide whether I go back or not. So, anyway, and the principal of the school called every day to see how I was doing, and this is missing a piece. And, I was doing fine. I was getting my exercises and everything, and, everything was into place. And I found that, when you believe in yourself and you believe in God, you take his hand and you let him do the work. And that's what kind of happened for me. Was it a long time getting well? I'm still getting well. I think it's something that you don't take lightly and you don't recover from immediately. You don't. I'll put this back in here. I'll get a thing for it later. I mean, you don't recover from it easily. It's not something that, you say, well, I'm going to recover tomorrow. And you don't happen like that. It doesn't work like that. You have to take your time. You have to range your goals and whatever. And so then they were asking me, did I go back to work? Yes, I went back to work. I had it in March. I went back to work mid-April, and I worked until May when school was open. I was on part-time still. And then I went back the following September, and I stayed until April. And I probably should have finished the year off, but I just couldn't. And it was mainly because I was in with a lot of children, and walking up and down the hall was sometimes very hard for me. Um, and I want to say not in a bad way, but not in a good way either. But so if I should fall or something like that, I didn't want it to be blamed on the school or the children. I'm not that kind of a person. So I decided, along with my husband, like I said, I probably should have waited till the end of May, but I decided not to come back after April vacation. So I put in the end of March, and I stayed for that month, and then I left, so that they could get a replacement. The funny thing is, the principal who I talked to all the time said they had 3 replacements after me, but what can I say? But then they asked me, did it affect my marriage? I think in a sense it made my marriage a little bit better and a little bit stronger because, I always upheld my end of the bargain, and so did he. And, he had to, I mean, when you get married for better, for worse, and for sickness and in health. And a lot of people take that lightly, and that's not to be taken lightly at all. And I think that he did his part in trying to take care of me. A lot of things he didn't know or understand, because, you can't have a person one way and then they're different the next day. I remember getting up a couple of times to go to the bathroom, forgetting, and not to hold on to things and stuff like that, and falling down and trying to get back up again the first few weeks. And that was funny, but I laugh about it because I didn't really hurt myself. And what I learned was that I need to ask for help too. And so, you know, I think that, and then my middle daughter, my oldest daughter still lives in Boston, but my middle daughter, she moved here after her husband died because she felt that she needed to be near me and take care of me. And there was some things that happened in between. Like my daughter and my granddaughter were in a very bad car accident where my granddaughter broke her foot, and my daughter broke, well, I don't know, she broke her leg. All right, and me and the kids were we just all were watching television, and my other daughter came over and said, "Would you mind us going to the store?" And I said, "Of course not." I said, "Well, pick me up a couple of things, and we'll sit here and we'll watch television." That's all that my granddaughter came to do, and the night ended like that. And through those kinds of things, you learn to get really much stronger and everything like that. And I don't for a minute say, "Oh, I'm so strong, I can just take everything." But I take everything as it comes because I know that God has a plan for everything. No matter how the devil tries to operate, God just seems to always move and move powerful things, and that's my belief. Okay? Um, and I just I don't care to get into the philosophy of it. I just move according to how he wants to move. Or at least I try to, because nobody's perfect and nobody gets it right. I don't care how well you know the Bible, and I know it pretty well. I read it every day. I read a chapter every day, from chapter to verse. I've read it from Genesis to Revelations a couple of times. I put it on Facebook for anybody that's on my Facebook page. If you know that there's a Bible verse of each chapter. I go through all the chapters every day. In fact, I finished Revelations yesterday. I'm getting ready to actually do Psalms, and then probably might do Proverbs, and then go back to now the New Testament, because we covered the Old Testament and the New Testament. And since pretty much, I don't know, we'll see what God says. But I'm learning and I'm growing. And, you know what I mean? And you're not too old to learn, and you're not too old to grow. Anybody can change. That's why I said some people don't change until they're old, but at least they change. Thank God for that. So that's pretty much it as far as the Q&A. Again, for those of you that are listening, and I should have said it in the beginning, but because you should have listened to it all the way through. But if you like this, like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment section, and give it a thumbs up. I am going to have a giveaway the end of July, and it's going to be a big box. It's a mystery box, and it's of things that, I mean, I get so many things, and I get so many people asking me to do things. Some I say yes to, some I say no to, and then I go back and I look at them and say, okay, well, yeah, because Mama ain't bought a birthday present in a couple of years now, okay? Or a Christmas present or anything, but, okay, um, I went into my closet, of which I neatly put everything away, and realized I don't have that much family anymore that I can be giving all these things away, so I need to give something away. So if you're in this and you like this, leave a comment in the comment section, and put in the comment section if you want to be in the gift into the giveaway. It's a mystery box, so don't ask, but you'll be surprised because, like I said, I have a lot of nice things um, that I'm going to give away. It's not for any place except the U.S. because I can't afford right now. And I really, what it is I don't know what the postal service is or how it is in there, and I really need to study it before I get off and do something, and it costs a whole bunch of money. I really need to find out, and I really need to talk to my postman or something like that. But it's only for the U.S. Um, in Canada, I think. I don't know. I'll have to find that out. But I know for right now it's for the U.S. But write into me, and that's really it. So I am going to leave you. I love you. Take care. God bless. Bye bye.